Hey guys, Will here with Create Studio, and in this video we're going to go over one of our pre-made templates and how to utilize it and access it inside of Create Studio 3. So let's go ahead and take a look at what this looks like.
Welcome, what wins to the world of animation, where imagination comes to life in every creation, with drag and drop features and endless innovation. There's no limit to crafting your own animation sensation.
So let me introduce you to the star of the show, the software that will make your creativity flow. It's none other than the amazing Create Studio.
All right, so I do want to point out that this template is available for all users. Now, if you are an all access user, you do get access to generate captions. If you're not an all access user and you would like to generate captions for your videos, you can use one of our other programs called ClipMagic. And ClipMagic is an amazing program that allows you to auto-generate captions for your videos and any needs that you may have. ClipMagic is available to use for free, so please check out the website here for more information on ClipMagic. All right, so let's take a look at the template here and see how quick and easy it is to edit this guy. So let's go ahead and click on scene 1 here. In the top right corner, you see the settings. Here's where I can quickly adjust the background colors, my floor. I can add my own current logo that I have, and adjust a few more of the parameters quickly at a high level. Now, if you want to go into scene 1 here, you can see all of the assets that make up scene 1, and you can get even more customization going on if you dive deep into here, right? Now, for example, if you want to tweak the character, you can then select our Zach character here in these assets. And I could come in and I could tweak him from the way he is now. So I could maybe give him a different jacket, go over here to his pants here, maybe give him some different pants. You could change the hat he's wearing, right? So you really customize him and make him any way you want. Now, maybe you say like, hey, I want to create my own character. Very easy. I can delete Zach here and then come over to my 3D creator. And then I can drag in, let's just drag in Tom, for example. And now I can come in here and tweak Tom to my liking, same way, adjust his top, change his hair, right? Maybe I want to give him a different look. Of course, if you have a pre-made preset that you made in a different session, you can go to your presets and then you can simply click and bring in that asset into your session. So you can have some kind of like same coherence across all the sessions that you're working with for whatever particular product you have, right? So it's, again, really awesome to do inside of Create Studio. Now let's go back to the main timeline real fast. And let's say, for example, I want to tweak scene 2, right? So I come into here and I like the animations. I like everything that's happening, but I want to bring in my own audio files. You can do that as well. So you can change out the music track if you want. You can click in here. Maybe you want to delete this vocal, bring in your own track. And then once you have it in, you can right click it and then sync with Leo. So that way you have good lip sync to that character animation, which is really awesome. All right, so let's go ahead. And for the next phase, let's show you some of the different tweaks that I can make to kind of customize this even more to really make this a template that belongs to you. All right, so the first thing I want to do is let's import some music. All right, so I'm going to go over here to my files here under media, and I've got my own folder made here called project files, and I've got my music track here. I'm just going to drag that into my timeline here. And so now I have my music track in here. And if I press play, we've got our music going right now. Again, you can always adjust the volume for your track for music or any type of audio file by selecting that file. And under settings, you'll have the options to adjust your volume, use some fade ins, some fade outs. So if that's something you would like to do, that is where you can do that at. All right, so now let's dive into scene 1. So I'm gonna go here and double click in scene 1 in this group, and you'll see everything that makes up the background. Now I want to go ahead and add a 3D character. So I'll go down here to the 3D creator, and let's go ahead and drag in our Zach character. All right, so I've got Zach, and what I'll do is I'll zoom in a little bit here, and I'll also extend out his animation so he's a little longer. And here is where, when you have your animation selected or your character, you can see on the top right over here under settings, you can customize. So in here's where you can change the tops, give him a Hawaiian shirt, maybe change his bottoms, maybe get some shorts. You can change shoes, right? So just different features that kind of make your own character unique to the project that you're working on. All right. You can also save presets of these characters. So if I right click this character, I can then save him as a preset so I can use him in multiple projects down the road, which is pretty cool. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and select Zach here. And under my presets, I've got one already made here. So I'm going to do the one that's been created for the template, right? So we've got this guy already made. All right. So now let's move this 3D character down below a little bit, because right now he's standing in front of his microphone, and on the layer system here, our mic is right here. So he needs to be right below the mic. So I'm gonna go over here on this mic track, right click and hit add track below. So it gives me a new empty track right below the mic. Now I can drag my 3D character right here on this track. And then boom, now you see that he is placed behind that mic and it makes more sense. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and click on my 3D character, select idle. And on the right-hand side over here, I'm going to change my animation to a jump in animation, right? So now what we can see is I'll play it back and he jumps in. And now what we can do is we can click add new animation, and then we're going to select a talking animation. So now we have 2 animations to work with, and we'll start animating him to the music, right? So before I do that, let's go ahead and go back to my media. And down below, I've got his actual singing voice. So I'm going to click on and drag his voice 1 onto this top track here. And you can play this so you can kind of hear a little bit of it.
Welcome, my friends, to the world of animation, where I imagine.
All right, so you can kind of see what's going on here, right? I mean, he kind of disappeared because I haven't extended out his talking track here. So if I click on this little square in the top right corner for talking, it'll extend him out to the length of this track here. All right, so now what we can do is we can start animating him and giving him a little bit of life to the music track that's there. All right, so let's go ahead and right click on our 3D character and let's add animation. And under properties, let's go ahead and select position, scale, rotation, distortion, and character view. All right, now for easing, let's go ahead and leave that as smooth. All right, and you can see here it added our keyframes. And so I'm gonna left click on this line in between them, and it allows me to move my keyframes from left to right. So I'm just gonna line it up about right there with my cursor. And then with my first keyframe, we're gonna leave him as is. That second keyframe though, I'm gonna select it. I'm gonna select rotate, and then I'm just gonna pull him back a little bit and give him a little twist, right? And then we can turn the rotate off there. So now what you can see is when he's moving around, and then he does a little shuffle to the back. And then if I wait a little bit, I'll add another set of keyframes. So let's right click, add animation. Under properties are the same: position, scale, rotation, distortion, and character view. All right, so now what I can do is let's pull this keyframe set a little bit closer there. And with that first one, we're gonna leave it the same. It's that second one that I want to click on rotate again, and let's bring him back in with a little bit of a turn there, right? Just to kind of give him a little bit more motion. So now just turn off that rotate. So as we play this back here, he kind of shuffles to the back and then he shimmies back in, right? So we're giving him life, adding animations to him, right? All right, so now let's go ahead and sync our voice to our character, right? So I'm gonna go over here to my top section here, and this is my VO track here. And you'll see I'm gonna go ahead and right click, and I'm gonna say sync with Zach. All right, so now when I play this back here, you'll see that we have some lip sync going on.
Welcome, my friends, to the world of animation, where imagination comes to life in every creation.
All right, so now with our character set up for scene 1, let's go ahead and add some camera movement to kind of give our scene a little bit more life. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come over here to my effects and components, and then select on components, and then go to my camera and drag that onto my canvas. And then you can see it added a camera track for me. So now I can then right click on my camera track, add animation, and it's gonna add my first camera. So right now I'm gonna have him jump in, and then it's gonna start as a wide, and then I'm gonna pull my cursor to the end of my camera track here with it selected. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just punch in on him a little bit so that it does this type of shot right here. All right, I'll frame it out. So you can see he comes in, and then it's going to zoom in on him like that. All right, so now what I can do is I'm gonna go up a little bit more in the timeline, and then I'll right click again and add another camera animation. And again, I'll move it this way. And so here it stays where it's at. And then let's go ahead and bring it back out to a full wide shot again here. So I'll drag this out to here. Actually, we can just do this. We can say expand camera. So now it's at the full width of our frames. So you can see it's going to zoom in on him, and then it's going to come back out to a full shot. And now let's do a really good close-up. So I'm going to go a little bit farther up in my timeline here. He's kind of dancing it out, singing. Now let's right click again, hit add animation, and it's going to add another camera track, and I'll move it over about right here. So here's where I'll pull this camera cursor all the way to the end of this camera track here. And then let's go ahead and punch in on him, and let's bring in this camera a little tighter on him, right? So we'll go here. It's almost like a medium, maybe like a medium, half medium shot here. We can go a little tighter there. All right, so we've got him here. And so now if we play this back, let's see what that looks like.
Welcome, my friends, to the world of animation, where imagination comes to life in every creation, with drag and drop features and
Right? So you can see it's giving it more movement, more life. And now what we can do is we can kind of end it out here. So he's zooming in there, and then let's kind of give him a little bit. Let's add one more camera animation, and then we're going to go ahead and punch out just a little bit on him to kind of segue into our next character here. All right, so let's just go ahead and give him a nice full shot there, right? So here he comes in.
Innovation. There's no limit to crafting your own animation sensation.
All right, and then we'll add another transition camera movement once we add in our next character, which let's work on now. So let's go ahead and go into scene 2 here, and we're going to add our character, add his VO, and then give him a little bit of life with keyframes too. All right, so now I'm inside scene 2, and let's go ahead and add our second character. So let's go ahead and go to our 3D creator, and let's drag in Leo into our canvas here. So here he goes, he added him right here in our timeline. Now I'm going to go ahead and select a different version of Leo. So this is the stock Leo. And again, you can always go to customize and change out your character and do all the different options that are available to you. But I have the preset from the template, so I'm just going to select the templated character there, right? So again, I've got him set up. Now let's go ahead and go to his idle, and I'm going to change one of his animations to be a 5, right? So instead of an idle, we're going to start off with the 5 animation, and then we're going to add a second animation, and this one's going to be singing on the microphone, right? And again, I'll trim this last singing on the microphone animation to fit our time frame here. And so again, before I move forward, I do need to make some adjustments to my animations themselves. So on the 5 animation, I'm going to disable the start, and on the singing on microphone animation, I'm going to disable the end. All right. So now one thing to note is on the 5 animation here, we are going to adjust him a little bit, right? So let's kind of scale him up. So I'm going to scale him up a little bit here, make him a little bigger, and then I will then kind of size him down a little bit here, about right there. So, all right. And then the thing too is I don't want him to be facing me on the start of this action. I want his back to be facing me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit rotate, and then I'm just going to turn him around like so. So he's going to start off like this. All right. And then turn that rotate off. Okay. So let's add some keyframes here, and let's get him to turn back around, right? So right now, let's go ahead and right click on our animation, and let's hit add animation there. And let's go ahead and just click on character view. All right. So our easy, we'll leave it smooth, and we can adjust it as we need. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and pull my keyframes to start right here at the cursor. And then we're going to leave the first one the same. And then we're going to click on our second keyframe, and then we're going to click on rotate, and I'm going to have him turn towards us this way. All right. So far, so good. And then let's see what that looks like here. So far he's going here, and then he spins around. He's going to start singing. All right. So we've got that. His animations are set up really nice. Now let's go ahead and add some VO. So I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my media folder. I'm going to scroll down to my project files that I've got, and I'm going to go to my voice 2 and drag his VO here right at the beginning. All right. So we've got everything set up for his tracks. Now all we need to do is for this section really is sync his audio to his animation. So I'm going to right click on his voice 2 and then say sync with Leo. So now when I play this back, let's see what we got.
So let me introduce you to the star of the show.
All right, so we have some good lip sync going. Now let's go ahead and adjust this character a little bit more. So I'm going to make sure that my character is selected here. I'm going to come over here to lights, and I'm just going to give him a little bit of an intensity pop here, just to kind of increase the intensity of his lighting, right? So that just to give him a little bit more pop on screen there. So looking pretty good. So now let's go ahead and add some camera movements to kind of give it a little bit more action in his animations here. All right, so now I'm in the main timeline, and let's go ahead and add the rest of our camera animations. So I'm going to go ahead and right click on my camera track, and I'm going to hit add animation. All right, so here's where it adds another camera, and I'm going to go ahead and position this camera in between the 2 scenes here because it's transitioning from my first scene to my second, right? So right now the camera is on a kind of like a close-up wide shot of that first character. And then so what I want to do is when I want it to transition to a angled wider shot of my second guy. So I'm going to turn it to the left a little bit, and then I'm going to take my cursor and pull out my camera box here. So it's a little wider of a shot of the guy itself. And when you see the red, it just means that it's out of the boundary of the frame there, but that's okay because it's not going to affect it too much. If we want to fix it, we can just pull it back in the frame. But let's go ahead and start there. So now you can see He's going to transition from here
So let
to
me
here.
introduce you to the spark.
All right, so far so good. So now let's go ahead and bring it a little tighter. So let's go ahead and come out here a little bit, and then let's right click again, add animation, and we've got another camera track. And let's go at the start of this one. We're going to go ahead and we're going to pull this guy this way, and then we're going to punch in a little bit onto him, right? Just a little bit. And so now we play it back from here.
Introduce you to the star of the show, the software that will make your creative.
So we've got a little bit more ebb and flow for that camera, right? We're giving him a little bit more motion, kind of making the audience feel in tune with what he's doing, right? And again, so we can come here and it's got this kind of a feel to it. And then what we'll do is we can do one more rock. So we can go add animation. Here's my camera. And again, we can then have him continue there. And then we'll pull the cursor to the end here. Actually, let's turn this camera down a little bit. And then let's just center it out here. So I'll come to the end and let's just center it up like so. And then we can even, let's go wide all the way. Actually, no, if you don't want to manually pull out to maximize the full amount of the camera, you can just go expand camera, and then it will then pull the camera out there. So here, we can then play it back.
Oh, it's none other than the amazing Creates.
Right, so now you got your full camera setup here. You can add multiple cameras as you need, but it allows you to create movement for your scenes. All right, so up next, we need to add for our captions. Let's go ahead and generate those within Create Studio so you can see how that works. All right, so to generate captions for whichever section of your scenes that you're trying to generate, you need to go into that scene where you have that audio file. So for us in scene 1, I've got my first character's singing track right here. So I'm going to select that. In the top right corner under settings, I've got my generate captions button. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And then it's going to give me a pop-up and it's asking me to choose the language for my video, right? So I'm currently using English, so I'll select English, and then they have Spanish right here. Or if you wanted to search up a different language, you could, and then it will pop up and you can choose that specific language. Now, just note, this isn't for translating the captions. It's just to help to detect the language so they can generate those captions in that language. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and choose English. And then you can see in the top left corner over here is where it's generating those captions. It's telling us to wait a second. And then as you can see, it quickly generated the captions for this section of the video. So as I scroll through, you'll see here is the captions popping up as I'm scrolling through for each section of the song. Now, what's cool about it is you've got presets, right? So as you can see, if you watch the where the text is right here, if I click on these, it'll change the preset styles there, which is pretty cool. So let's go with the cartoon style because I like that. And then you can also change the style itself. You can go in there and customize it or create your own and tweak it even more. And then, of course, you can come in and edit the captions. Maybe it missed a word every now and then. You can go in there and correct it and adjust it to what it needs to be from there. So that's a really awesome feature. All right, so again, we can do it for scene 2. So I'll go into scene 2 here. What I can do is instead of coming over here and then coming up to generate captions like I did the first round, the alternative way and probably the better way is to right click on your audio file there for your VO or for your singing track, and then coming over here to generate captions. So if I click this, it again is a shortcut way to get in to generate those captions, and you choose your language of choice, of course, and then it will then generate those captions for you. Now, again, this feature is available to all access users. And if you're not an all access user, that's okay because you can use our other programs called ClipMagic, like I showed in the beginning of this video. So please check that out if that's something that you want for your videos. Hopefully you got some really cool quick tips out of here. Can't wait to see what y'all create, and I'll catch y'all in the next tutorial.